Joey, we have a lot to talk about, buddy.
Yo, since the last podcast, it's been a crazy week.
We said it a couple weeks ago. There's a lot to talk about, and you know what? These UFO drones all started in New Jersey about 2 weeks ago. Okay, and what's happening now is on Thursday night, I'm seeing on Instagram, everybody's seeing them, and it's now in Connecticut, Westchester, the Bronx, Manhattan.
Yep.
You sent me tons of videos.
I saw them in Manhattan.
When you call me, I know something's big. It's either you have to get in touch with me right away, or something happened.
Our lives are busy, but you know when I call, it's something
when
crazy.
I see that name pop up on my phone, I'm like, all right,
this is good.
Something's going on. And I'll tell you right now that you filmed firsthand these drones.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put the clip up that you sent me, a couple of clips, but just go through what you saw that a lot of people across the nation are now seeing.
So we got home Wednesday night. Wednesday was, I want to get this right. This way people can verify it. You know what I mean? Wednesday night was the 11th. Okay. We got home on the 11th. I live in Locust Point, and it's right off the water. We got the Throgs Neck Bridge, and we got the Whitestone Bridge.
Yeah.
And they're very close to one another, relatively, right? If you're on a boat, you can go underneath both of them. They're directly in sight with one another. So I'm coming home, and I noticed something flying really low as I'm coming down the block from my house. I'm like, what the fuck is that? And I'm remembering, our episode we just touched on the drones in Jersey.
Right, yeah, we didn't go in depth.
We didn't go in depth because it's like, what's the big deal? It's just some drones. But now, you're talking like they're everywhere, like simultaneously.
Yeah, that Thursday, you said the date was the 11th. That Thursday is like everyone is seeing them now.
Everywhere. In Long Island on Thursday, I got a call from a friend who's in Port Jefferson. All over Port Jefferson. All over the Bronx. Over Yankee Stadium at some points. I got some calls from some friends that I have over there that live by Yankee Stadium. Where else?
They're probably looking for Juan Soto.
Yeah. Queens. They were in Queens. Some over Brooklyn, right? And so I'm pulling up to the house, and this water theory kind of holds some weight. Remember how we said, the UFOs are coming from water?
That's what they're saying.
That's what they're saying.
That's what they're reporting. A lot of people.
Or UAPs. I want to get that, terminology correct now because they changed it up on us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. So, pulling up, I'm parking. I said, what the fuck is that? I make a U-turn, park the car on the other side, on the opposite side of my house. So I'm getting out of my house, and I see it over my house. I'm like, what is that? And I brought it to my wife's attention. I was like, Ashley, do you see that? I was like, and she's like, yeah, what is that? So she goes inside, she walks the dog, she drops her stuff off. And then I'm like, those are the drones. Those are the drones from Jersey. I was like, that they're saying that are everywhere. I was like, that's not it's staying still. It's hovering over us. And at first it was just one. And then she came out, she called her dad right away because her dad's a pilot. We spoke about that on the podcast before. He's an aviation expert. So he would know right away what it is. And so she's describing it to him, and he's like, yeah, those aren't, but right away he told us something. He said, if there's a red light on the left wing and a green light on the right wing, they're following FAA guidelines. He's like, do they have any red or green lights? And we said, yeah, they do. And he goes, that's so strange because they're following it. But he's like, but they're hovering, right? He's like, can you hear it? Is it a helicopter? And we're like, no, this is not a helicopter. We could definitively see it wasn't a helicopter. So, and I'll just throw this out there before we get down the line. They're all a little different. Not every drone was the same.
Right. A lot of people are reporting that these, they're all looking different. Anywhere from the size of a car to a plane shape, the size of a car, regular sized drones.
Or like a small plane, like a Cessna, but that floats. You know what I mean? And so I look up, I see it, I took out my camera, start recording. My neighbor was getting home. he saw it and he was like, what is that? He stood out there looking at them for a while with me. We were both like in shock. We saw the one, and then I turned to the other house. I was like, are there more? So I turned to the other house, and lo and behold, there's more. There's like 5 of them, and we started counting them, and we got up to the point where it was like we counted 30. It was insane. They were just everywhere. Even Ashley was like, they're just standing there. She was freaking out. So at first I wasn't gonna make a big deal about it. I thought about calling 911, but I'm like, this could be just a prank. You know what I mean? Like, they're not doing anything. They're just floating. Yeah. For all I know, they're supposed to be there. Like, you know, like they have some kind of permission to fly there. And then my brother, I got on FaceTime with him to show him on FaceTime. And for those people who don't know, you could zoom in with FaceTime. So I'm FaceTiming him, and I was zooming in on the drone from FaceTime. So he had a little screen recording. I think I sent you that one too. His face is on like the right hand side.
Surge. Yeah,
Surge. And that was a good clip because it was different from the other ones that I was filming. It was more circular, and it didn't have green and red lights, unlike the other ones. It had just like these red and white flashing lights. And so he recorded, he was like, what the fuck is that? He's like, and he realized right away, he's like, that's not a plane. So he's starting to screen record from his phone, and he got a nice little shot there. Otherwise, because I'm trying to like show people proof that I'm not crazy, you know what I mean? Like this is happening in my house.
I think it's baffling at this point for anybody to say that whoever sees these things are crazy.
Yeah.
Especially that, you know, and it doesn't really surprise me.
I mean, the government acknowledged them already, so it's not.
I heard a report this morning that the president is just telling people that they're crazy. That's the report that I saw. I don't know the truth to it. It was on a
current or the one coming in. Okay,
the one coming in wants to shoot.
That's crazy.
The one coming in wants to shoot down. I literally saw it this morning.
Yeah. So
granted, it was Fox News, but I'm like, you can't say that thousands of people at this point are crazy because they're witnessing it. My brother sent me a video.
There was a CNN aviation expert. I watched a clip from CNN. This guy was saying, he's like, people are saying that they're flying over Air Force bases and it's restricted airspace. He's like, let's get this right. He's like, there's no such thing as restricted airspace. I could fly over a military base right now if I wanted to. It's not that big a deal. There's mass panic, blah, blah, blah. So right away, I was like,
no, you can't.
I know somebody who can answer this question for me right now. So I got him on the phone, called up my father-in-law, and he's like, that is such horse shit. He was so fucking... He was livid. Excuse my language. You know, we're on YouTube. Anyway.
Yeah, it's all right. Just extra work for me.
So, I get him on the phone. He's like, that is such BS. He's like, that's BS. He's like, they're gaslighting everyone and they're calling us stupid to our face. He's like, if that's the case, he's like, I can show you restricted areas right now on my phone that I'm not, he has an app that he uses and stuff like that, that I'm not allowed to fly over. Like they literally have
as a pilot,
mm-hmm. Right? And so he was like, that's BS right there. And then he was like, and to another point, he's like, then why can't you just fly over Area 51 if that's the case? That's a military base.
Right. Well, but we talked about this, last week?
Get shot down. He said that there will be fighter pilots on my tail if I decide to fly, within minutes, if he decides to fly over restricted airspace.
Yeah, we spoke about this. You have a regular drone for recreational use that can elevate, past 100, 200 feet. You won't be able to take off. You have to register your drone once you open it. You can't just fly drones in the air. It's not something that you can do because you can cause substantial harm to whoever's in the area. Not for nothing. You said that in your story, Locust Point, where you guys are, that there's the two bridges. Not far from the bridges are two major New York airports. You have John F. Kennedy and you have LaGuardia Airport. Mm-hmm. So in that area where obviously you live over there, planes fly very, very low because they are at the point of descending to the airport to land or even take off. So right over the bridge from Locust Point, fairly close, is Citi Field. When you're at Citi Field, the one common thing that they've put even in video games is the airplanes passing by the baseball game. You can hear it, and that's why they made that joke in Men in Black when one of the Mets players looked up and saw a UFO, because they put that in there as, Citi Field, formerly known as Shea Stadium, was notorious for planes flying over the baseball games because it's so close to LaGuardia and JFK.
Right.
So flying drones in that area is a no-no. And matter of fact, I don't even think you can fly drones over there besides the airports that are closed. You can't fly near the bridges. So
No.
those are two major bridges
It's like flying over New York City.
that connect New York City to Long Island and Queens, the borough of the Queens. So I don't know for a fact, but I'm pretty sure you can't fly a drone near the
Over
bridge.
a bridge? No, you can't.
Yeah.
I have a recreational drone, and it won't take off in certain locations because of that.
Right, you were saying that. You went to Connecticut.
Yeah, went to
you had a
Connecticut,
partner, you tried
wanted to fly,
yeah.
take that drone off. I think we talked about it
Yes,
on the last
we did.
podcast. So these apps on these, recreational drones won't even let you fly. So whatever is flying can bypass any kind of restrictions. So we know it's not recreational. That's number one. Number two, the resources to do some kind of recreational prank like this would be crazy. You'd need tens of millions of dollars, maybe even hundreds of millions of dollars. Because think about how many drones there are, how big they are, how expensive each one is, the individuals, the network that it would take to pilot all of them.
Right, and you have some good pilots, and it's not just one.
No.
It's thousands at this point.
And there are people in the United States right now, if they are indeed ours, that are flying them, that are complicit and not saying what the heck is going on.
So let's take it to this level. We've heard your story. I
wanted to talk about one, though, in particular. Got a shot of one going over the house. Now, in the video, some people would comment and they would go, that's just a jet. It wasn't a jet. It's disguised to look like a jet, and it stops and hovers. I witnessed them stopping and hovering. And they go way too slow to be a jet, if you'll notice in the video. But I showed that one to my brother, and my brother was even a skeptic, and he was like, oh no. He's like, that's a plane though. That's a plane. I'm like, no, it's not. I was like, if you saw what I saw with my naked eyes, looks like a plane from below. And when you see it, there's this round barrier around it, like that shouldn't, if it was a jet, that shouldn't be there. Almost like if it was a bumper guard of some kind for that plane. So what I noticed was there were propellers in the front and in the back of the empty spaces of this cylindrical circle surrounding it. But it's almost like it's meant to look like a plane when you're looking from underneath it, or like a jet. Like disguising itself, right? But like a small one. I would say the size of my car. But because there's no scale of reference when you're filming something in the air, they get away with people saying, yeah, that's a jet.
Well, when you looked at the comments dating back like a week.
But if you see it in person, you know right away, like, nope, that's not. You have to see it in person.
If you look at the comments on social media, a lot of the skeptics, because the skeptics are writing the UFO thing off. I'm not saying they're UFOs.
Right.
But they're writing it off as they're planes. Now, realistically speaking, the military has a couple of fighter jets that can hover. They've built these planes now where some of them, I've seen videos of, they can hover up as they're landing instead of coming in. That's some of the new technology. It's not really that new. It's been out for a couple of years. However, you could debunk that they're regular planes because unless it's the military and they're not telling us, or the government, planes just don't stop and hover.
No.
They don't do that. It's not a helicopter, and you could tell they're not helicopters because you could tell a distinct sound of a helicopter. Even that night, that when you called me that night, about 15 minutes later, I heard helicopters flying over my house.
NYPD sent out the choppers. And so the cop was still...
the chopper.
The chopper. Get to the chopper. So they sent out the choppers. The cop that I called, or I called 911 rather, they said, we're going to send out a unit, blah, blah, blah. They actually did send out a unit. And when he got there, he was like, I don't know what that... He goes, send me all those videos right now. He's like, I'm sending them to my detective. 5 minutes later, there were choppers in the sky. And NYPD would not waste resources if they thought that those planes should have been there, or those flying craft should have been there. They know that they shouldn't have been there. So check this out. It's in my backyard. Got clear footage of it in my backyard. I'm filming it. It turns and it goes towards the front of my house. And when I tell you one of these drones boogied past it, I mean, almost as if it also had some kind of jet propulsion on it, where it took off. And the the NYPD helicopter tried to go after it, and it just couldn't keep up. It was gone, like towards the water, to the direction of the water. So he's staring, like he's hovering over the house, staring at it, going northbound, and southbound would be in front of my house. He starts to slowly make that turn, and I turned off my camera because I saw the drone shoot past, and I wanted to see it in front of the house. So I ran to the front of the house, through my house, went from my backyard through my house, out the front door, and this thing was going at least 200 plus miles an hour, like gone.
Yeah. Well, helicopter's not going to keep up with something that fast and that small. So now we have multiple sightings as of that Thursday. NYPD would not send the aviation unit up for no reason. Yeah. You know what I mean? It has to be a valuable claim, and these claims were coming over. And then days later, JFK and LaGuardia actually had to stop some certain flights because these drone sightings and things like that. Very peculiar. I can't say it.
Peculiar?
Yes.
There you go.
That these things are only coming out at nighttime.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that's a little strange and odd. They're doing this under the cover of darkness with certain lights that are visible.
Yeah.
A lot of people, their video out there, now with AI you got to be careful, but there's a lot of videos out there of orbs forming in the sky. Now they're projecting something out of the bottom of the unit to the floor. There's one video of one of the drones shooting something out. So now there's this big mystery. Is first of all, I think his name is John Kirby. He's an official for the White House, the staff there. Mm-hmm. He came out and says that, and this was an interview with one of the Fox representatives. Again, Fox is one of those stations that is said to have animosity towards the administration, the current administration. But this news reporter was talking to John Kirby. I think that's his name, and saying, "Are you not telling us because you were told to not tell us the truth?" Because he kept claiming that they don't know what they are.
Right.
That's where we stand right now. They don't know what these things are. They're not a threat, according to them.
How do we know?
It's been 2 weeks.
How do you know?
They haven't harmed anything or anybody, but you don't know.
That's the only reasoning that they're giving, that they know that they're not a threat, is the fact that they haven't done anything yet.
Now we take it back to 2 years ago in February, where the balloon was over the Alaska and over the United States.
It took a day for them to send a jet and shoot that thing out of the sky.
It took more than a day.
Oh, you're right.
It took more than a day. And then I think after it was shot down, we found out that it was from China, I think.
Yeah.
But we didn't know. They kept telling us we don't know what it is, whatever. We had theories. So we don't know what these things are. We do know that they are showing some signs of very advanced technology, to be that fast, to stop and pivoting, to take off. And they have obviously some really good battery life, because it's been reported in New Jersey. It's been reported that they're coming off the water. So now you're kind of like taking these stories, and now you're going to combine it, because one theory for UFOs is that they come from the water. There's an island off the coast of California called Catalina Island. Catalina Island has multiple reports of strange objects coming out of the water,
the orbs,
and hovering over the island of Catalina and near California. Now, again, I don't think these are personally UFOs or something extraterrestrial. I do think that there's some kind of technological advancement in these objects, and they're being flown. Now, there could be a lot of reasons why this is happening. Tests from the government, where one representative said that, former representative said that the government has branches like Men in Black and all these that have the authority to keep things secret, even from the immediate government.
Yeah.
So it's like a ninja branch, a shadow branch of the government that's conducting these activities, keeping 95% of the government in the dark, while there's 5% of the government that knows that, hey, we're testing these things out and we can't alarm people, and we don't even want our government to know, because you don't know who's telling people what. Yeah. Things get out, and then another country finds out, the United States has these advanced drones that are coming off in droves. We don't know. Then there's theories it's an Iranian warship sending drones off the water. Personally, I think if an Iranian warship or something was in the water close to the United States, we'd know about it, and they would take care of it and be like, yo, if you don't turn around, we're shooting you. That's that. There's a lot of things going on. But I did some research, and I wanted to take it to the origins of these sightings. The origins of these sightings were where? New Jersey, the state of New Jersey. So in New Jersey, now this is where it gets scary. Okay, in New Jersey, there is a bunch of things that are pretty important for the surrounding tri-state area.
Ooh.
Okay, for Connecticut, for New York, for Pennsylvania. So I'm going to go through a couple of things that are in New Jersey, where these sightings started, and just take it from there. All right, so you have Fort Dix, McGuire Air Force Base, Lakehurst Naval Air Station. It's a joint base, and this joint base is a significant military installation that supports national defense and military readiness. It serves as a training ground and an operational hub for various branches of the United States Armed Forces. Okay, you have the Pine Barrens, which is where the Jersey Devil is supposedly resides there. That's where
Right.
the myth comes from, is the Pine Barrens. And I'm just mentioning that for the paranormal folk on the podcast. It's pretty odd, Jersey, Pine Barrens, but whatever. That's not really the big thing. The New Jersey Turnpike and Garden State Parkway, which is also known as the 95, goes through there. It's a very
Lot of traffic.
It's a very big
Part of the infrastructure.
right. So if you do something to the highway, where a lot of trucks drive hours, because Jersey's long, to get from south to north to New York, you can possibly, if this is what their logic is, if this is some kind of terroristic threat, taking out the turnpikes, you block off a lot of highways and routes for trucks to
You,
make delivery.
you strangle goods and services coming into the tri-state
Now,
area.
here's where it gets crazy. We got the airport there. Newark Liberty International Airport is one of the busiest airports in the country. It serves as a major international and domestic travel hub, linking the U.S. to global destinations. Now, here's where it gets crazier, right? The next couple I read, keep these in mind. The Delaware River Basin, a critical water source for millions of people and industries in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, and New York, supporting national agriculture and power generation. If they're flying and their origins were there, and now they're shooting things out of the base of the bottom of the drones, and they're shooting things out, and they take that out, the immediate, very significant portion of the East Coast, all those states, Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, and especially New York, it could be catastrophic. Okay? Pharmaceutical and biotech corridor. With major companies like Johnson & Johnson headquartered there, New Jersey plays a pivotal role in healthcare, innovation, and national pharmaceutical supply chains. Link that to what just happened a few weeks ago with that CEO. Interesting. Okay? The Atlantic Ocean coastline provides access for shipping, defense, fishing, renewable energy projects, including offshore wind energy, vital for national infrastructure goods. These areas collectively contribute to the United States economy, defense, innovation, and infrastructure, making New Jersey a state of national strategic importance. These drones were first started there.
It's also the most heavily dense population, I think, not just in the country, but in the world. You can Google that. I'm pretty sure it's accurate. New Jersey has a lot of people. You want to take out a bunch of people at one time.
Well,
if they're up to something nefarious, right? Like, there is a theory. I sent you that clip on Instagram.
as of July 1st, 2023, New Jersey's estimated population was 9,290,841, according to the United Census Bureau. This reflects a slight increase from 2020 census count of 9,288,994. The state population has remained relatively stable in the recent years, with minimal changes since 2020. There's a lot of people there, 9 million something people.
9 million, and I think I think the stat was like per square mile or something like that. Like an insane amount of people per square mile. It's more than any other. New York is a whole different entity, right? You have transients in and out of New York. So
New York City is the hustle and bustle, is a very big population in the city. As you branch out of the city, out of the boroughs, It's where things are like there's little, it's more forest. People don't realize you go upstate, you pass the city, it's like, it's a different world. It's a different world. And the city everyone thinks of New York and they automatically think of the city. They don't think about
Rochester,
Buffalo, Rochester, Port Chester. They don't think about Long Island. When you go to Long Island, you feel like you're in a different world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's true.
Now, let's get to some theories. And I wanted him to come on the podcast today. Obviously, we're recording on a Monday morning, and this is an episode we weren't even going to do. Very interesting. Out of all the things that I heard, Tim this weekend told me a very good theory. So, Tim Hayden, very good theory. Don't know if you heard this from somewhere, but he did tell me this, right? And he's very affiliated to everything we like. Tim told me, what if these drones are looking for a dirty bomb?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, they're telling us that they don't know what these drones are. They're telling us that they are no threat. If you tell us something that is alarming, that there's a dirty bomb somewhere from the range of New Jersey where these sightings happened to New York City or Connecticut, you are going to cause mass panic. People aren't going to want to leave their house. People are not going to want to leave to go to work because they don't know where this dirty bomb is possibly.
Just think of what it does to the economy right before Christmas.
Exactly. Right before a new political agenda comes into the White House.
Right.
Okay. That's something that these things can be doing. They're searching in the cloak of night for this dirty bomb.
Not our theory, by the way.
Not our theory. Tim brought that up, and it could not be. Maybe it's not Tim's, but I'm just saying that this is something that substantially resonates.
Here, I'll play the clip of this is a YouTuber.
Attempting.
Let me just
intercept a suitcase nuke that either has already entered into a major city or cities in the United States or is trying to prevent them from entering by detection through technology of these drones. They are saying, we believe that these drones are a defensive mechanism by the United States. These are our drones. Do not shoot them down. They have nuclear sniffing capabilities. They are trying to find nuclear bombs that may have been smuggled into the United States.
Now that for me is...
Where's that from?
So this is Fight or Flight official TV Instagram. So he also...
Credit to them, YouTube.
Yeah. And they also have a YouTube. But yeah, that is a scary theory, if that's the truth. And if people are saying it, it came from somewhere. Did it come from somebody's imagination, or did somebody credible say it? Right? The Iranian theory that the what was it, a senator who said it, or somebody in Congress?
Ex-official, and it was played on Fox 5. So yeah,
right. Yeah, he said his sources were telling him that it was an Iranian mothership, which has been confirmed, by the way. I'm pretty sure that Iran has drone capability purchased from China, and they said that they have some kind of drone ship that they did deploy. I think that was verified.
So I just want to bring this up. So we're saying that the government might be keeping this secret, and this is something that I remembered. So if you tell everybody this flat out, you go on television, you say there's something heading our way already here.
People are going to leave.
People are going to panic. There's going to be mass exodus. It's going to be really bad. So I think they want to stop that from happening, which could also be bad because if there is something and they know it's in the city or if it's somewhere on the 95 or somewhere, I think you should be like, yeah, we have to evacuate. But then,
think about 9/11. They had some intel with 9/11. They sat on it, didn't tell people. People died. Think about Pearl Harbor. I had intel, sat on it. We don't know why. You could speculate that it was to get us into World War II, etc. But they sat on that information. Individuals died. And it's like almost like the government doesn't learn from their mistakes. Are we going to sit on information again if this is actually the case?
Here's a reason. It takes it to a slightly paranormal element, just in case people are watching and listening and they want a little bit of spookiness or something that involves aliens. But
there is an element to that.
The radio broadcast of War of the Worlds that caused widespread panic occurred on October 30th, 1938. Orson Welles and his Mercury Theater on the Air adapted A.G. Wells' novel into a radio drama, presenting in its style of breaking news bulletins. Some listeners tuning in late and missing the introduction believed the fictional alien invasion was actually happening, leading to reports of panic across the United States. This guy went on the radio, introduced it as this is a story, a book, a science fiction.
Yeah.
People turned the radio on because in 1938, radio was predominantly entertainment. I don't even know if TV was around at that time, whatever. People went in their cars, turned on the radio, missed the introduction of the radio broadcast.
Oof.
And guess what? All they heard was a radio host saying that they're flying over the skies and shooting lasers. And now in 1938,
right.
You're like, what? What's going on?
Instead of telling it like a story, they told it like a radio broadcast.
As a radio broadcast. And it caused panic. I feel
like that was done on purpose.
People were leaving. No, I don't think at that time it was intentional. But
I don't know.
He went to read it. It caused panic, and then people had to. There was like a news, this is what's going on. Don't panic. But
Right.
people already had panicked. Now
The conspiracy mind in me is like saying that this is a test that the government was trying to run to see how people would react.
Now here's another theory. People might not like this, but it is what it is. It's very evident that people don't like a certain person that's about to take charge of the United States of America.
That's true.
Okay? And they've done damn near everything they possibly could have done to stop him. Okay? We've talked about it on the podcast. Full-on research from our missing host, Nick, where he went through one of the court cases on the charge that turned into charges. So it was one actual charge that turned into 33 other charges, making it equivalent of 34 felonies. But it was the same charge. We went through that in detail. I'm not going to reiterate or repeat what was said on that podcast. We went through the legal analytics and the legalities of that case. They tried that. It's on hold. And the other things. They've tried shooting him on 3 occasions, I believe, in total. They have done everything. He won by astronomical record-breaking numbers. What's to say that deep state that many conspiracy theorists talk about, that he himself talks about, that this is not a full-scale, well-calculated attack to try to start something here in the home of the United States?
Contingency plan.
A big one. And also, Project Bluebeam. I see that on the comments on a lot of social media pages. Project Bluebeam.
Don't be fooled, etc.
They are prepping us for Project Bluebeam. Some of these drones, there's one of them that I had posted in the reel that I did the other day for us, that look really crazy.
Well, some of them are. So there's another theory. Besides all this nuke hunting / bioweapon hunting that these drones could be potentially doing, right? And maybe the deep state is responsible for those dirty bombs. Who knows? Contingency plan.
Real quick.
That's been said out there.
Do you know how I learned about what a dirty bomb is?
I don't know.
I told this to Amy yesterday. This is her look to me. When Cold War came out, Call of Duty, there was a game mode that came out. It was called Fire Team Dirty Bomb. And you dropped that at the helicopter, and you had to activate the dirty bombs hidden on the map to destroy them. Essentially, dirty bomb is a really big bomb or a nuke,
Yeah.
And so when Tim told me,
It's not what you do in the car when you roll up the windows and lock them on your wife.
No. So when Tim told me they're looking for a dirty bomb, I was like, Call of Duty helped me learn something. Yeah.
So to backtrack a little bit, I feel like I lost my train of thought. What was I going to say there?
Sorry, I had to bring up a video game.
So there was the couple of theories, right?
You need some mushrooms?
You have?
No.
Theory. Which theory?
I really fucked you up. Huh?
You did. We went off track, but it was funny. It was We need some comedic relief. This is a lot. This is serious.
This is very serious.
This is wild shit.
When Joey calls me at 12:15 at night, because he did,
yeah.
and you were like, bro, NYPD helicopters up here, and it's looking at it, can't do anything. Like Joey called me more in a 1.5 hour span
than I have in
than
months.
he has in a year and change.
This shit was crazy.
Literally.
The UFO theory, right? So for the paranormal element of the podcast, like you said, you brought in George Orwell. I'll bring in another one. There's two types of drones, and people are bringing it to a lot of attention on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. We have the drones, your typical drones. You can see that they're drones. They're following the FAA regulations with their lights, etc. But then there's these orbs, and people have been filming the orbs and simultaneously filming these drones in tandem, like in the same frame in some videos. And do I know that they're real, some of these videos, for 100%? No. Do they look fake? Not really. It is hard to discern a fake from real, but for the most part, when you see a fake video, you're like, that's bullshit. Like it looks a little CGI, or like it's from a video game or whatever. There's just that element of glitchiness to it, or that extra clarity to it that gives you the discernment that this is a fake video. Now, the ones that I've seen, they don't look fake. They look, and somebody said that there is real UFO activity happening, and these drones are observing these orbs. And I said that could also make a lot of sense. And coincidentally, and I just shook it off as nothing, but I'll mention it now, there were a lot of meteors. I saw meteor showers. Like, I saw meteors falling while I was watching these drones.
I think I see where you're going with this.
See where I'm going?
I think I do.
So there were meteors falling in Jersey, right? This is somebody else's theory. I didn't see the meteors falling. I did see them in the Bronx falling.
We just had a second moon leave out of the area. I remember we had a second moon that we couldn't see, but it was up there up until November 20 something.
It was like a comet. They called it a second moon.
Right.
Now it's moved on from our elliptical orbit.
And now all this started.
So these meteors are falling, right? And meteors are objects. Wherever they land, that's where they'll be. They could potentially be worth money, a lot of money, depending on what element has fell, So maybe they have an idea of what is falling from the sky, and they're going to retrieve it. There's that. But then, how does that explain the orbs? The meteors falling. So there was a video in Jersey of one of these drones, definitely a drone, not an orb. It was spraying something down. Yes. And it was from multiple different cameras. So I know it wasn't bogus. It was like 5 different people who posted this video to Instagram. I saw it from a few different angles. And so what would they be spraying? But why on a specific area?
Spot, yeah.
Why on a specific spot? What is it neutralizing? Or some people would say, it's a biological agent. Wouldn't you spread a biological agent just around people circularly? You know what I mean? And not directly onto one site. So this video shows the drone, and it shows the spray coming all the way down onto one specific spot. And on that day, that same day, meteor showers in New Jersey.
Dylan Page, very popular social media personality.
A lot going on. All at once.
He goes and gives these news reports. He's, I believe, some British, he's from England, I believe. He's got a British accent, maybe Australian. Very popular. You know who he is. And he reported just 2 days ago that there are these viruses, tons of them, that are missing.
Oh, yeah. Heard about that.
300 something
deadly viruses missing.
And we have drones now. So there's a lot of things, right? We have meteor showers. We had UFO sightings. And now we got drones. So there's really, really just, you can take this anywhere. I'm sure we're saying things that people have already heard. We're just trying to break it down best we can do. But we got orbs appearing. drones appearing.
And the orbs is not BS. If you go on,
I've seen that video.
the New York Post posted it,
Right.
and then
I
they
believe
had a Harvard physicist come on and make a statement about it, and he said, "Well, it could be that was a reflection from the lens, you know, and the lens caught a reflection somehow, and then that's what caused, you know, this orb flying to the sky." But
People are seeing it.
people are seeing it
Physically
So
seeing
how
it.
are you explaining that then?
Right.
And not only that, the pilots that were piloting, you know, the New York Post chopper saw it with their own two eyes. It wasn't just that they caught it on camera; they witnessed it. So you can't explain that away. It's like it's something that people are witnessing. It's definitely not a reflection.
Hundreds of deadly virus samples are missing from a laboratory in Australia. Oh, the Tingo ate my virus. The Queensland government
Sounds like
announced on
2020
Monday.
all over again.
Yeah, and coincidentally, who's coming back into office when the first day?
I really hope not. Another pandemic. Would you want to be locked down for another year?
I'll be honest with you, I wasn't at the job I'm at when I was pandemic,
So you were like, eh.
and I had to work every day because I was in the medical field still, you know. And I asked people when I got to my current job, I was like, "How did you guys manage COVID? You know, like what did you guys do?" I know what I did. I
I
worked.
feel like some of them would still work though. No.
No, you have to at my job. Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
And so what they did was they did Group A, Group B. 1 week you were off and you were paid, and the other week you had to work, and then you were off and you were paid. So you work 1 week, and
Off
then
1 week.
and then you were off 1 week and got paid. And that's like, I was like, dude, I would have been working out. I would have been hiking. And during COVID, ironically,
We did go on some hikes during COVID.
2020 was a good year for me. There was one element that sucked. My family went down south because I worked in a hospital. So they left me and they were like scared I was going to give them whatever. Granted, that was, you know. So I didn't see my family for 3 months. 3 months, they were gone. And they left like March, didn't come back until May or something like that. I don't know. It was a while. And I got into a groove of working out. I went on numerous walks. I was on a different diet. I was in phenomenal shape.
I remember.
I was like 160 pounds during that time. Granted, I got sick.
It's funny. I got in shape after COVID was over when I had to go back to work.
I literally got sick, and it kind of helped me lose weight. And there was like a point I looked in the mirror and I was like, damn, I got a six pack. I was in phenomenal. I was going on these hikes, like 8 miles, 9 miles, and not feeling it. So COVID was not bad for me.
Yeah.
I had a lot of overtime. I had a lot of money. You know what I mean? And everything was 20 minutes to drive somewhere, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. It was great. But for me, personally, I mean, for other people, it really was terrible. Yeah. But, you know, that time, people don't realize, like, we are seeing so much unimaginable things. Growing up, we could never imagine.
No.
Yeah, we're going to see.
Just think of what we've lived through.
We got news that UFOs are real. There's drones all over the place every single night in the night sky. We lived through a pandemic. We lived through another couple of wars. We lived through 9/11. We lived through Y2K. We lived through the clown invasion. We lived through like so much stuff that's unimaginable. And right now we're going through another chapter and the year hasn't even ended yet.
Yeah.
So you can only imagine what 2025 is going to bring. Because honestly, I really think that this drone stuff is, personally, you go first. This is how we'll end off. In your heart, what do you think from the words?
You don't want to know what I think, but
Oh, I do.
We got another hour? No.
We do. I want to know from the words of Joey Ayala. What do you think these drones are?
Oof. So, I think they're human. I think they're not. It's not extraterrestrial technology.
Definitely advanced technology.
The orb videos, however, I don't know what the hell that is. I have a theory about what may be going on. Anytime in history, there's always been these sort of UFO sightings around nuclear facilities, shutting off nuclear facilities, well-documented things, declassified, orb coming, hovering over a nuclear base, everything's shut down, right? those are actual factual Googleable things.
Even in one instance, turning it.
We've talked about them on the podcast,
Yes.
and in an instance, turning it on. UFOs neutralizing missiles in the air, right? You could say sit there and say it's BS all you want, but there's proof, there's evidence of it.
It's documented.
So, and the government will always say, we don't know, we're not speculating, blah blah blah. It's an unidentified or a UAP at this point. Blah, blah. There's always some kind of explanation to shake it away. Now, if it is a dirty bomb, and we are looking for it, and there is an extraterrestrial presence around Earth and monitoring Earth, I would assume they're not of the maleficent nature. I don't think that they're ill will intended for mankind, because they could have ended us a long time ago if they wanted to. If you have the capability to get to Earth, we're talking about, you have quantum computers, which we just had a chip turned on by Google, by the way. I don't know if you heard that. That's wild news too.
No.
We could do a whole episode on that.
Don't worry. Season 6 is around the corner.
Wild for season 6. So they would have to have an immense amount of technology just to get here, to travel even 1 light year to our most distant star. Let's just say it would take us generations of people just to even get there. We wouldn't even begin to know how to take the steps to get to our nearest star. And if we got there, what if there are no habitable planets? Then we're screwed. It's not like you could turn around and, if you sent 5 to 10 generations to live on a ship to get to a nearest star system, it gets there and then there's no planets that they can live on. Do they have enough resources to turn around and go back the other way? Probably not. So what I'm saying is, if there is a technologically advanced biological entity that's able to get here, I think they'd be smart enough to know life is rare. Let's not destroy them. Let's try to help them in their infancy of evolving. If we're on the brink of destroying ourselves, wouldn't they try to assist? Wouldn't they be around wherever we are? Like, let's say we're looking for a dirty bomb. You're going to see these orbs along with us, because maybe they're trying to neutralize it before we are.
I mean, I've seen a few videos of the orb. I haven't seen,
Oh, I'll send you some more. I've been
So
on
if
the
if it is orbs appearing with drones in conjunction, that's pretty significant.
Yeah.
I really do think that. Now, what I think personally is that, hate to say it, you can call me whatever you want to call me. I stopped trusting the government. Officially stopped trusting them.
I don't trust them. I've never.
There's some people that I've never trusted. I wish I never got into any form of politics. I wish I never started. I used to never do anything. But by the middle of 2021,
Ignorance is bliss, they say,
I was
right?
over the government, and I do not trust that the most advanced nation in the world does not know what these things
800 billion in intelligence every year.
All you need to do is go to one location where there's a significant amount of drones, and you send one fighter pilot or a squadron of them, or you send our military drone that's armed to up there, shoot one of them down.
It's ours.
And analyze it. But that's not happening.
No, because it's ours.
And when Kathy Hochul, who's probably one of the worst governors, and I feel like I've said that a lot, but she's pretty bad, is telling the White House that we need answers and we need to get something going, to rules to shoot them down, and then you know that there's certain people politically conjoined that are not, they have no knowledge of what's going on. So obviously the governors are out of the loop, because Murphy doesn't know in Jersey what's going on. Kathy doesn't know what's going on here in New York. No one knows. And if you're sitting on TV telling the entire nation, and you have the president coming out, which I just saw this morning, saying you're seeing things, something's not right. You're lying to us.
People know what they're seeing.
We had the Kostigi project. That was a conspiracy until it came out that it was true.
Yeah.
We've had so many conspiracies that did come true, that in 2025 almost, you're telling us that you don't know what these things are. I find that hard to believe. When you caught someone that shot somebody in Manhattan, like within days, all right? You knew Epstein did what he did to himself, which he didn't, within days, okay? These things that you know and you tell us, and then all of a sudden you don't know. You don't want to show us certain lists, but you knew he did that to himself. You caught this kid that just, unalived this guy within days with bare minimum, with just a very quick glimpse of a face, which looked different from the first picture that you showed us.
Right.
Like he grew,
grew
a unibrow.
First thing he says is, "I acted alone." I'm like,
yeah. So I don't try. I think that there's something going on that our government is either testing or prepping, or they're looking for something that they don't want us to know. Something. They're looking for something. And I'd like to say, and I like to sit here and say, maybe with what you brought up, these things falling from the sky, maybe they're looking for something extraterrestrial. I would like to believe so. There's a lot of things that I'd like to happen if the world's going to come to an end.
Right.
I'd like,
at least just tell us before, like, if something just blows up, you're gonna be like, I wish I knew what it was. You see this big cloud of fire coming towards you. You're like, damn it, at least they didn't even tell us,
Yeah, I mean, at least it'd be over quick.
Yeah.
But I would like, if the world was going to end, I would probably go with, number one, alien invasion. Just so I could sit there and break out my gear and fight aliens. And then look around to everybody and be like, I told you so. In third grade, you thought I was crazy. Yeah, that'd be number one.
That'd be pretty cool. But I don't think, that's why I said, I don't think that they're going to be crazy enough to be like, cowboys coming into a new planet, guns blazing.
But I would like that. Number two, it would be like some biblical apocalypse, like fighting demons, like some Sam and Dean Winchester stuff. That'd be pretty cool. The third thing would be zombies, because I don't know if I would.
I don't like a zombie. I don't want to survive a zombie world. I mean, I would survive a zombie world, but I don't want to. It's going to be an unpleasant life for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I just saw a clip from 28 Days Later when the guy was like telling his wife, like, don't do this, and she did it, and then she was like, he's like, I gotta save myself now because he fucked up, and he left. He jumped out the window and ran from the zombies. Yeah. And in the 28 Days series, like, these zombies run, which is like, damn, like, you know what I mean? It's not like The Walking Dead where they're walking.
No, it's like World War Z zombies.
Yeah, like these things are running at you. That, like, first of all, if I had to run, I'm fucked. I'm done. You're good.
I'm okay.
You're good. I'm done.
I can run for miles.
I'll get a running stitch, like a block in. I'm like, oh, that's it. I'm going to get eaten. I can't even fight now. I'm out of breath.
Give me grabbing his wrist.
Like, the
give me a second, bro, before you eat me. Hold on.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not a way to, I don't think I want to, at least if it's aliens, I'll tear you up, shoot you. Because I'm getting eaten in that kind of sucks. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So, like, that would be on the third, in my top three. But something is definitely going on. And they're not telling us, and it's been now almost 3 weeks and change, and we have no answers. And I wouldn't be surprised if they say it's some foreign entity in the coming weeks. It is China, it is Iran, and then they're going to be like, and then that's going to, and this current leader of the free world, you could hate me for saying this, doesn't know what's going on. And he doesn't care.
He doesn't know.
He's giving money to other countries when we're broke. He gave like another $1 billion to like a different country, not even Ukraine. And he pardoned like crazy people. Like, people talk about what do Trump, like, he just pardoned someone, a judge. He just pardoned that the kid was getting bullied to that extent and ended up killing himself.
Oh, I didn't even hear about that.
And he pardoned this judge, and the mom was saying that the judge shouldn't have done this because the judge, I don't know, threw the kid in jail, and the kid didn't need to go to jail. It wasn't his fault or whatever. The kid ended up unaliving himself. And, like, I don't know who he's pardoning. He pardoned some spy recently, some Chinese spy or Russian spy, something with arms or money or something. It's crazy. I don't even think he cares. You barely see him on the news.
Yeah. I mean, he's got a month left.
He's riding
or less than a month left now.
But this is something that you should be acting on. You have drones, like the current president is doing nothing. With
I mean, he did make a statement, and it was almost like we're seeing things.
Yeah, we're seeing things, exactly.
Okay.
So
we are seeing things. They're legitimate.
The president to be is like, I'd order them to shoot them down, which should be, to me, logical. Okay, after the first week, you let it rock a little, but then as of Thursday, it picked up where it's everywhere, and they're flying in droves, and they're shutting airports down. Now we're
talking about an operation that is, just so people have some reference about how big of a deal this is. About if let's say the Bronx have 100 and Queens has another 40, 50, and simultaneously going on the same day at the same time, these are almost 1,000 plus drones on the East Coast
over major cities.
Over major cities, and shutting down airports, by the way, which we didn't touch on. Shut down LaGuardia.
Well, I mentioned it.
Oh, we did.
I mentioned that they
that's huge.
That's
restricted airspace.
Yeah,
that's shut down an airport.
So what I was trying to get at is the current president is not really taking this serious, which he should be.
Yeah.
New York is pivotal to anything in the world. Okay, and then you have a president to be that's like, I'd shoot it down, and I think that's the right way. You can hate him all you want. I think it's the right thing to do.
Shoot one down, find out what it is.
At this point, it's been 2 weeks. They're shutting down airports. People are concerned. Shoot 1 or 2 down and gather data and find out what they are. And if you find it's another country, you give a really bold warning. You do this again, or you're knocking on the wrong door.
Right.
That something's going to happen. And that's what you need to do, wholeheartedly, because this is crazy now at this point. And all the other stuff that came with it now, there was like one, before we cut it short, the one thing that was pretty crazy to me was there was a recording of where the drones were. People had a radio station on, and it wasn't any radio station. It was 106.7, which is the holiday station. And on that station, there was radio interference, which means they're using some kind of radio frequency.
It's like the movie Signs.
Which is not something that drones operate on. I think drones operate on some kind of like Wi-Fi-esque different frequency.
Right.
I'm not sure. I don't have a drone. Maybe you know. But there was radio interference. There's a lot of weird things. I saw a video. A lady was in a parking lot. It was like dusk. And all the cars, there was no one in them. All the headlights were going off. Blinking. She's like, look, no one's in the cars. There's drones around. All the headlights to these cars were going off.
That's wild.
So that's EMP-esque.
See, I think there's something else alongside that drone. I didn't experience that. We didn't have that going on in the neighborhood, but we did have a lot of them, like a concerning amount of them flying around. Yeah. Where everyone in the Bronx, I called 911 and she was like, you're not the first to call. She's like, we're getting a lot of these calls. She's like, just hang tight. She's like, they're going to try to figure out what this is. I'm like, I don't think they're going to figure out what this is, but
this is something.
But if we're talking about the theory that I proposed before, with the headlights going off, the frequencies, what if something else is in tandem around these drones causing that?
Something is going on and they're not telling us. That's clear as day. Yeah. That could be a guaranteed answer. Something's going on and they're not telling us. And we're going to have to sit back and wonder. And it's either one of two things is going to happen. We're going to find out it's another country or them just testing out new equipment in the next week or two, I believe.
Or we're going to get a kaboom.
or it's just going to stop and we're going to go into 2025 and people are going to forget about it. And that's what's going to happen. So, Joey, it was a wonderful morning. We weren't going to do this episode, but we did. And next week, we're going to do if you're around Sunday for 30 minutes, we're going to do the 4-year anniversary episode. Just real quick.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
Real quick fun. That's it. Couple of drinks, just fun talk. No topic. Just happy birthday to the Swab Podcast. So I want to thank you for coming on. Maybe Nick might pop by.
Maybe.
He'll come out of his protein cave. Come in here with like protein powder all over him, looking like Hunter Biden. Jacked up, veins coming out, looking like Bane, pressing buttons, and first forms coming out of him. So, but, this was a big thank you and all made possible to Spotify for Creators. If you didn't know about Spotify for Creators, it's the free app that allows you to get your podcast idea
out there.
So if you have a phone, tablet, or computer, and you want to start your very own podcast for free, head over to Spotify for Creators to get started. Joey, may the force be with you, buddy.
And also with you.
And that's another episode of the Say What Again, Billy.
That's a religious thing, It
is. But you know what? When you say, may the force be with you, people always say, and also with you.
Yeah, it's true.
So that's going to be like a Mandela effect. In like another 10 years, they're going to be like, no, they always said, and also with you. I was like, no. The Catholics did.
You just made one.
And that's another episode of the Say What Again, Billy podcast.